Alrighty, as I turn the stream on and forget to open up my notes document. 1 second. As I recall, the last session, you all did a bunch of research into the Hermetic host, courtesy of findings that you unlocked from the Ventus Guild Federation. You also looked into the Jade Mask and 2 unnamed adventuring groups as a means of trying to cover those tracks up. But following all of that research, you then went into the Stratos Wilds to try and find the sort of home base of the Hermetic host, named a sort of town or village named Muhtal, that you know has a variety of illusory and other sorts of protections that they have installed here. Drada managed to get themselves a little separated from the party, partially in a railroad scripted way so that Jacob could take a week off, and has rejoined the party now at a temple that you have found amongst a forest clearing within the wilds. This temple, in sort of a cursory glance, although you haven't spent a tremendous amount of time here yet, Mouse has uncovered some sort of prophetic statements or hieroglyphs that she believes may be tied to her people back in Sparrowden. And it is sort of the early afternoon here. I want to bring you to a map because I did make a map for this, whether it gets used or not. Just to give you a sort of simple idea of where you're at. So after Mouse is sort of like inspected, there's a variety of like moss-covered drawings all along this curved wall in this space. You've spent a good 30 to 40 minutes poring over everything here, and what would you like to do?
Hey, guys, I think I know this story. Does anybody know what this temple is?
All right, there we go. Hi. Do you know where you know the story from? Do you know it from back home?
I mean, yeah. It's a story a friend of mine told me. It might have been more like
okay, I was gonna say it's not like a story they just know and like made up and like tell as a bit. It's like something that everybody knows or is passed down.
Yeah, they tell lots of stories. But this one's I think I know this one. But why would a story about my people be here?
It's specifically about your people?
Yeah, I think it's about my friend's mentor.
Well, that's more specific than I was expecting.
Yeah, that was also much more specific than I thought. When you say mentor, is this like, yes, I'm a sage figure who exists for thousands and thousands of years and teaches lots of people, or like, hey, it's that guy's grandpa who taught me how to do a thing, like on the scale of mentorship?
I mean, as far as I know, he's just a normal halfling.
And your people have never come here?
No. My people are a little bit protective of their island and their privacy.
Is anybody in particular trying to follow along as Mouse, like assuming that Mouse is pointing at the wall, is anybody in particular trying to glean anything from it.
Box is just trying to piece together age, right? Because when I think of a temple, I think very old. And so I'm looking at the reliefs and just thinking old. And she said her friend's mentor told the story. I'm just trying to see, does this seem ancient or does this seem relatively new?
Give me I'm going to say just a history check. We're still on the intelligent clacks era of last session. With a 16, you can't identify the age, so to speak, but you know that this place has been here for a long time. Certainly older than you, certainly older than anybody you know. Could be like, you know, that elves live a long time. It could be like, you don't necessarily know that it's older than elven structures, but you know that it is old.
I think if Clax is looking at the age of the building, Drada's mind more goes to like, how recently have other people been here? Like, are there any signs of more recent life or habitation or use of the space at all?
Sure. I think that is probably a survival check if you're trying to track.
Mystery
Still had that
survival.
I still had that on a private GM roll by accident, but that's a 7.
Yep. I would say, unless there's something that somebody would do to help you, I think you're a little bit out of your depth. This does, from your perspective, sort of look like just like a straight up overgrown ruin.
Oh, hi. Okay, I had the sensitivity in the wrong area. Either I can help you out with that, Drada, or I was going to look to see if there's any, excuse me, any writing involved with like the visual aspects that Mouse is pointing out on this temple.
Okay. Go ahead and give me investigation then. And do I need to roll for you, or are you on a separate computer? Okay. Okay. 21. There's something. I think this is something that you are a little attuned to because of your familiarity with the primordial languages, how they come out in sound sometimes, and like how an avalanche of stone may be words. You don't hear anything of a primordial nature, but as you're sort of like looking at the outside of this, you see I think you sort of think of the idea of sound, but what you instead see are like sort of decayed music notes, but not as you would know them. It's almost like it has the bars of music that are creating the boundaries of the hieroglyphs. And it seems like you see that as it's telling the story of this figure ascending to the stars, there's almost like a rhythm to it. And the characters are sort of rising and lowering as if like a crescendo or other notes are being played. So it's more like an abstract placement of these characters that you think almost renders as a music sheet.
Or if I could point this out to the rest of the party, specifically Mouse, I think I would say, is this normal to set stories up like this in your culture, Mouse? It seems almost musical in nature, but it's just a little.
I'm sorry, we're losing you a lot. It's coming in and out now. If you have headphones that have like a microphone, I don't know if that would maybe somehow. Okay. All right, we'll have to figure it out.
I think I rolled last time for history, and like the style of the markings didn't seem familiar to me other than the story. Is there anything to this musicality that he's seeing that I would understand better?
Give me religion. A 15. You do know. I think, although Olive never could replicate it for you, it almost has. You've heard the language celestial to be described as kind of like a humming or singing to it, and I think that is the connection you make is like, okay, celestials. This is definitely star stuff, you know, and this must be a language of sorts written in their form of music.
I will relay that I think it's celestial, and kind of addressing the group say, my friend, who I message sometimes, Olive, she's the one back on the island that I keep checking in with. Her mentor, I think this is about him. And I don't think he could be that old, so I think this must have been a prophecy. But I don't think anyone on Speriden's ever done enough to be noticed by the stars or celestials.
Can you go into a little more about your So what makes you think this is a prophecy? And what connects your friend's mentor to this?
Well, and I'll like point through the story and say, I think this is Sundance. He disappeared a long time ago, but he cut a piece off of our island and floated it to somewhere new. Most people think he disappeared, but Olive insists that he flew away. And here it looks like he's flying on that piece of island and rising until he became its own star. Is that... I mean, maybe he wasn't the first, and there are more people up in the stars. But again, that doesn't explain why it's on this temple in the middle of the Stratus Wilds.
You got me. I'm gonna just walk around and see if there's anything else that catches my eye around the mural or the.
I mean, we should go inside.
Yeah, I think while this is all going on and having this conversation, Flint's kind of looking for signs of anything magical, and I think he sort of expects it's probably not his branch of magic, but seeing if he sees anything like related to that or that would indicate that this is somehow magical.
Sure. You can do an Arcana check. I will say, Mouse, as you do a lap around, there is no discernible entrance. It is sort of like this. It does sort of round on a dome, kind of like this central structure almost has like a pillbox shape to it, that's rounded on the top, and as you sort of circle it, stepping over different stones and different debris, you don't see anything of that nature that would be like a clear entrance. With a natural 20 Arcana, I think there's, first of all, there's a little bit of validation in what you just said, is that this is not your branch of magic. This is definitely of the divine and not the arcane. There is nothing resembling like runes or sigildry or anything that would suggest that this place is like arcanely enchanted. I would say that you've always had, like, whenever you've come across these sort of star things, you've always had a suspicion that there's a lot of these pockmarks that would fit gems in them, and you've always had a suspicion that that they would sort of work in some way if you had the right gem socketed into the right place. And what you can and I think what you discern with a natural 20 is that these, like, all of the gems along this wall, of which there are 5, of the spots where you would put gems, of which there are 5, all seem cut in the same way, and that they do seem like there are clear connections in the stone between each one.
Do these look like any of the gems that we found? I know we found some gems before that I don't expect, like, recently, but I know we've got...
These are all like baseball-sized gems, if they were to... So you don't think that anything you have on you would necessarily fit? I would say with the natural 20 Arcana, I think, like, you're confirming that that is a thing that could exist, but one thing that you do see is that the ruin that has been worn on this place is that whatever, like, you know that must be a magical method to do something, but you know that is no longer true here. That as this place has fallen to disrepair, that, like, whatever structure in that has been worn away. Clax, you said you were just sort of like doing another lap.
Yeah, just seeing if anything kind of looks at its place, like from not from an arcana or divine sense, but just really just there's something obvious. Like, is there some place where somebody was digging around the outside of the perimeter trying to get in? Is there any drainage?
Sure.
Anything where water's coming in or anything along those lines?
Well, perception or investigation, if you'd like.
What are we feeling today? They're both the same. Let's do investigation, see if we keep the intelligence roll going.
Okay.
Yeah.
14, not bad. I would say it takes you a few minutes. I think you're sort of in patrol perimeter check mode. Between some of the debris, you see smaller and smaller stones that start to become more granular, like sand. And as you sort of like kick and rifle through that a little bit, you do see a few bones.
I will
Sort of the something has been disintegrated here variety.
Am I getting the feeling that the sand is burnt, whatever?
Ash, yeah, more so.
I'll bend down and kind of start uncovering some of the bones a little bit. Can I identify just general shape, like humanoid, or do these appear to be
generally humanoid?
Okay. I'll look around and see if there's anything that indicated maybe a trap went off. Like, is this a targeted area, or if it seems to be, I can't pinpoint anything.
Give me another investigation check. Getting all the rolls out, top of the session.
All right, now we're kind of coming back down a little bit.
I think in the immediate vicinity, you don't see anything. And it's confusing. You know there must be something that triggered this, because people don't just spontaneously explode. There's no scorch marks or anything. You're just not quite sure what you're looking for.
I think at this point I'm going to make my way back to the group and relay my findings when I get back to them.
After hearing that and learning what we've learned from Flint, and also learning that there's not really seeming to be an entrance, obviously, anywhere. I think Drada would love first, like, climb up the wall of the structure, like, see if, like, there's any part where a roof has caved in, or if with this dome, is it, like, there's an oculus in the middle? Is there any way in from above? Second, with the thought of we can't see any traps, like up close, and also it's weird that this is here. Try to get more of a like bird's eye view of the land, of the surrounding place, just to see like, oh, is there anything I can see a little bit more macro? Also, is this like, is the physical land we're on, like, does it look like it shouldn't belong here? Is this a tiny island that like is from elsewhere that has been arrived here?
Mhm.
And lastly, pump a primeval awareness in.
Okay.
To try to see if are we dealing with any active celestials or beings nearby?
Okay. Give me a perception check for everything except the primeval awareness. And I because I passed you notes on MS Word, I forget if I forgot to say this, but Mouse did cast Find Traps at some point, and discovered that there is some spiritual protections in place, but you couldn't discern what and where. I'd say with the perception, so you climb the roof of the structure. It is solid. There's no anything that I'm not going to place your token over because I didn't actually put a roof on this map, but there's nothing that reveals any way inside. It seems, in fact, I would say the top of the structure probably feels the most well put together, or the least in disrepair at this point, but it is otherwise you're not really seeing any entrance from the top. Looking out and about, you see a variety of I would say the nature of this clearing, it does strike you as interesting that there are not trees growing up to the very edge of the structure. And there are no like tree stumps of trees that have been removed to place the structure here. So I think like what that tells you is sort of up to you, but it does seem like this is, it sort of just lends itself to the fact that this has been here for a long time, but you don't see any kind of shift between realms, so to speak. With regards to primeval awareness, definitely a presence of celestial in the area. At this point, you guys have spent a good, I would say like another hour here as you're poring over this place, trying to decipher what to do with it. It's still in the early afternoon, but you still have a little bit of time to get to Muhtal as well, unless you plan on spending a long night here.
Just to clarify.
Wait, quick clarify. You clarify, then I'll clarify.
Is there somewhere that looks like it's a door that we just can't find a way to open, or does this just seem like like solid walls and like there was no place?
Yeah,
where
it's entirely a kind of like a mural going around of the sort of etched artworks, and nothing in that artwork resembles a door.
Is there anything? If I just do sort of a walk around like the outside of here, like I'm assuming this is all sort of elevated up the way I'm looking at it. Is there anything on like if I wander around the outskirts of this outer wall instead of that inner dome that appears to be some sort of door or entrance or
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Where the places are that Flint saw to put baseball-sized gems, Are those like in a row, or if I step back, do they seem that they could be more in a constellation?
So yes, I think even if I misspoke, then sorry, but I think that is what Flint would have sort of discerned earlier, is that similar to the star map that Clax, that you guys found and created Clax's whole situation, and the one that you found very early in the game, there are these sort of inset areas with carved out lines that sort of depict what seems like a constellation.
And is it a constellation that I'm familiar with?
With the earlier, well, I'm not going to make you roll religion for this. Let's do the navigator's tools check as you sort of like refer to your star map. Okay. This is a constellation that is referred to as the Heart. I'd say what you know about it with a 19 is that it's not like the North Star, like you go there and you find your way home, but it's more like an anchor that binds a lot of other places in the cosmos together. It's sort of, it has a, whenever you've seen it in the sky, it's sort of like a multicolored star that's pulsating or vibrating with energy, kind of like a, and around it there's like a swirling nebula if you are able to see far enough. And it's sort of said that the Heart is, you know, one's connection with the universe. It's supposed to sort of like inspire a sense of awe and wonder and encourage people to explore the mysteries and infinite possibilities and sort of like to chase your boundless potential. It does have the shape of the constellation, sort of more of a rhombus that with like a little like protrusion coming out of it, as constellations are quite simple, but that's sort of as you understand it.
My quick clarification, and then to move on. For primeval awareness, it specifies like creatures. So like, am I sensing like active? There are celestials within this proximity, or is it just like celestial remnant energy vibes?
Give me a nature check. Celestial creature, but it's something about it is irregular. It's like it doesn't feel present, even though it is in proximity.
Interesting. I relay that to the group as well.
So there's a celestial creature here?
Of some sort. The vibes are weird, but something's here.
Well,
is it sleeping? Is it napping? Is it that like that one Earth Prince elemental guy who's kind of himself but kind of not really? Who's to say?
well, can celestials be bad? Because if not, ... do we want to rest here for the night and allow Mouse to kind of explore her mural a little bit more? Or if there's a chance that this could be problems, I say we get out of here and keep moving on.
It seems like we might need a bunch of potentially special gems in order to get inside here. I think, well, and I'd like to ask Olive, but I worry that our communications are being listened to, and this could be important. I'm not sure what to do, but I'm not sure we can do anything about this right now.
Aesop, I know some audio issues, but anything on your mind?
Yes, no,
Yes.
maybe so.
Yes.
Actually, I was going to ask if part of the dilapidated destruction oldness vibe of the surrounding area is it through age, or is there something else, like a battle, or are there like marks from weapons here? Because I know we found bones, but I guess I was curious if it's, destroyed through something else besides age.
Sure. Give me an investigation check if you would like. Or another appropriate check if you can think of something. Okay. With a 21, I would say, following what Clax had pointed out earlier, you see, I think you see a combination of things. You see a piece of metal that is beneath the rubble as you sort of, I think in investigation 21, you're like taking the time to push a few stones over and be thorough about it. You see a piece of metal that has, I don't want to say corroded, but it is turned almost, it's almost rusted, but I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. It's turned porous. A metal that has turned porous, that as you look at it, it is in the shape of a pickaxe head, without the actual handle attached to it. And sort of nearby, you look at an area of the surface of this wall, and it has like a few chunks that have been broken out of it. What you're sort of able to gather is that somebody at some point took a pickaxe to this wall and some sort of disintegration effect took place.
I'll point that out to the group. I think it's best that we don't try to force our way in. See, demise here.
Flint will slowly put his pickaxe away.
But Mouse, if you think we need things that we don't really have to get in, I think this would be probably something that we'll at least be open to, but
Sometimes it's really good and sometimes it's not. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
It's sort of, so the mural's about like somebody lifting like an island up or going up and down or whatever. Like, Mouse, do you like think flying around here, or any of your like star forms or something would do anything? Or is there anything like big or obvious around here that looks like it would make sense for me to try like levitating to see if somehow that triggers anything? Like, is there a obvious stone that looks like it is island shaped somewhere central to all this?
I would say I'm not going to make you guys roll for every theory you have. I think like in many ways you think with the rolls that you've made so far, I think you sort of with the I think you think you have all the information that you can get out of this place, or all the information you can get from inspecting the mural and from the structure itself. I think in your minds you're probably there's something here. You just have to figure out what to do about it.
Maybe something becomes more obvious at night when the stars are out. But
I'm more in favor since we found something that looks like it was disintegrated, and I found humanoid bones that looks like they were burnt or disintegrated. I don't think we want to force our way in, and we don't have the key to get into whatever this is. I'm more in favor of let's move on.
You also know that in case I wasn't clear, if you're suggesting that the 5 stars are the key, like Flint has discovered that magic has died, like that has been worn away. So there's no way, even if you come back with big stones, that's not going to do anything.
So then we really don't have a key. So unless we want to try kicking our way in, which I know I'm inferring a lot, but
doesn't seem like a good idea. Do we want to rest here for the night, or and see if, I don't know, something comes up or is obvious at night or anything, or do we just want to continue on to Muhtal?
do we have an idea on how far out from Muhtal we are? I know we'd gone through a couple of the, I think you said 8.
Yeah, I mean you, your characters don't know your characters don't know where it is, but I would say that you think if you make good progress that you could get there before the night ends. The question, which may raise the question of like, do you want to show up at night or do you want to show up during the day?
I'll pose that to the group. You know, based on where we're at, when the time we made, based on where we think it is, we can get there right as night, which is potentially good because we can get the drop on them. Downside is I don't see great at night like some of you.
Is the intention to go into Muhtal guns a-blazing, so to speak? Like, we just, hey, okay. I wasn't, the drop I wasn't sure if the drop meant, oh yeah, and then we find the guy immediately and end him.
That is always an option that I want to make sure is on the table. But no, there is no plan to, you know.
Great. Cool. Love that. And I'm kind of not to ask but I mean, this
Jacob, you're cutting out a bit as well.
This seems like your thing. Mouse is the most connected to you and the people. If you think there's value in staying here overnight, I would trust you in that. If you don't, that's so fair. We also have to come back this way, maybe.
I did not get most of that.
Great. I love vocal fry.
Audio problem day.
It was me saying, hey, Mouse, this seems to be in your court. How are you feeling?
I leave this to Mouse for how are you feeling about all this?
I appreciate that. I don't know. I'm a little conflicted. I think I would like to stay here and just be here at night and maybe send some messages, but also I'm not sure that there's forward progress to be had here. So, and I know we have other things to do.
So, what if I like cast shatter on the wall and then like duck behind a big rock?
I'd rather you not like damage this place. I think I would like to go in, but I don't think we ever force our way in here.
I agree. Just making sure.
So moving on it is?
Let's go.
All
Good thing
right.
is, we'll be getting there, hopefully, if everything goes well, at dark. And I look over at Drada and kind of give him a knowingly nod.
Alrighty. Well, since we've talked about sort of the future of this campaign being more quest based insofar as exploration, just make a note of this place. And should you return here during downtime, perhaps you will learn more. But for the time being, you depart. If, let's say, Idrada, if you could roll me a d4 for me.
Because these have gone so well in fact, happily.
Big 2. So, because I don't know that I told you all this, there's a variety of encounters that you may get on your way to this place. And so this is perhaps one of the ones that you'll get. All right. So you continue in the direction, leaving behind this strange temple and whatever secrets it may hold for the time being. And you resume through the forest. What is your just general formation? I think originally it was sort of Drada in front scouting, but then after the whole separation ordeal, chose to stay a little closer to the party. But is Drada still sort of up front, do you think?
I think probably. He has some good peepers, especially as the night grows dark.
Okay. Go
Actually,
ahead.
be near the front.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me, I guess first, if we could get everybody to make a fresh round of stealth checks.
Oh boy.
Which is just may or may not be relevant. You never know. It's honestly not bad. Now that Drada's back, people are rolling above 10s. Just inspired by Drada's presence.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Most people, not everybody. So with feeling relatively stealthy, getting into this, getting into the swing of this forest and how it operates, Drada, as you're sort of leading the pack, and I guess if you're sort of sticking close to the party, then we'll say Clax as well, as who I assume is also sort of in the front. If you could both roll me roll me a check that sort of aligns with what you're trying to do. Like, are you keeping an eye out, aka perception, or something else as you're leading the party in this direction?
Yeah, I think for me, just perception, just trying to keep an eye out, make sure there's no more of the doohickeys from last time that are going to silence us or anything else like that. So
Okay.
Yeah, I think similarly. Head's kind of on a swivel. Looking around, making sure we are safe and all right.
Okay. Go ahead. All right. As you are sort of bobbing and weaving between different tree trunks and sort of staying under the canopy that blocks out most of the sky, there's a variety of like small boulders and sort of dense foliage that you guys are navigating through. And you start, I think Drada sort of hears it first. And once a quick pause is put to the party, sort of clacks, takes a look around, and sees there is a single humanoid shape that is sort of wandering at a sort of like an eastern direction, which crosses with the path that you're going. You're sort of heading northeast. There's a single figure heading easterly that has just sort of like a bundle of something in sort of like a burlap sack. They're still a little further away, and you're sort of far enough away to be stealthy that they cannot see or hear you. So you don't really have I would say with a perception 21, they seem to be a little bit disheveled is what Drada might be able to pick up as they're carrying this burlap sack away. And this is an individual who seems like a sort of like shorter human or a taller dwarf, somewhere in there. And they seem to be just sort of navigating this forest.
First, I was going to ask, is this a fucking singular kobold out in the world that we may have run into several times
No.
before? Sad.
Someday.
Yeah, I think I would put that hand up to the party, just point out the figure. We just want to let him go, let him be. Do we feel the need to have friendly roadside chats right now?
I don't know if we want to have a roadside chat, but DM, does it appear like the coloring of the garbs, does it appear to be similar to the group that came in to take over the trade near the prison in Consonance?
Well, I'd say you never met those people.
Oh, true.
But what you were told by Lieutenant Longle is that there were people wearing pretty heavy clothing and sort of and dwarven. This individual does not seem to be wearing heavy clothing. In fact, I think in the sort of disheveled look, they seem almost like there's various rips in their pants, and they just don't really look like they're protecting themselves in any particular way. So I don't know that there's any discerning features to compare.
Hey, guys. What if this is one of the workers from the place we're trying to go? So I remember correctly, the Grajin guy was talking about turnover and issues with the workforce. Think we should go talk to him?
Maybe. Do we have like a story we're trying to tell him? Like, are we here to work, or are we trying to like bribe him for information? Or
I think just get information, but if he's left the encampment because he's trying to get out of here, point him in the right direction, give him a bite of food, and he's probably gonna give us whatever information we need.
okay, I mean, what are we telling him as far as like why we're here?
That's none of his business. He doesn't need to worry about that.
We're lost. Very sad. I'm trying to
I was going to
get confidence in them all.
I was going to ask if there's blood. He said he looked disheveled, but is there like a blood trail? Is there blood on him? Or are we too far out?
I would say those who are, I would say it's probably Drada who has the keenest eyes, who's tracking this person right now. Drada, if you want to roll nature or medicine or sort of survival, whatever if you're trying to figure that out.
Sure.
Super sensitivity, because you can change the sensitivity on the phone, I guess.
Sure,
So hopefully this works.
Okay. Still having a little bit of that at the beginning, but it seems to be good right now. So we'll see. Medicine 21. What I think strikes you as odd is that the skin looks sort of like looking through the holes in this clothing. The skin looks healthy, but as you're starting to look more precisely, you're realizing that the holes are caused by burn marks, like some kind of acid burn that dissolved through the clothing, and yet the skin underneath is healthy. Something about that seems a little off.
I happily relay that to the group and give the group the offering of, if you want to have a chat, I'm more than happy to wait up in a tree. If things go bad, I'm more than happy to intervene.
I'm down for that.
Sorry, Art, didn't get that at all.
Another illusion.
Could be. But
I heard illusion at the end. That was exciting.
yeah, could be another illusion, right? So with that, unless anybody has any objections, Drada, get up a tree, and do you guys want to hide while I go inspect?
I will guide you before I hide.
Appreciate it.
Do we think just one person should go talk to them, or?
I'm sure Clax has
Maybe
got it.
Okay, Clax, you got that. You're so correct. You're so good at talking to people. You're so charming.
Well-
Duly noted.
Should maybe Mouse go with you? Someone a little less threatening?
What are you guys talking about? There's
You're
nothing
scary
threatening.
looking, man.
Mouse, do you want to come with me?
Sure.
All right, let's go.
With your previous stealth checks, the rest of you can find a position either in a tree or otherwise to observe this. But as the two of you begin to approach, are you still being stealthy, or are you sort of like revealing yourself a little bit?
I'd probably be stealthy just for the first little bit to get a little out of line of where the rest of the party is, and then kind of drop the pretense of being stealthy and make a beeline. And then if the person looks in the general direction, kind of give the, hold up.
You sort of like allow yourself to kick a few leaves on the forest floor in such a way that they're a little bit crunchier and revealing as you approach this person from behind, and they do sort of stop and turn around to acknowledge you. And as you sort of hold up your hand, they sort of like tightly grab the bag with just one arm instead of two, so that they can free up one arm to wave towards you as well. They seem to have like a pretty disarming face, like a neighborly wave, as they're just sort of acknowledging you.
Kind of turn him more to Mouse. This is a good sign. Let's go.
And starts to close the distance and walk towards you as well.
And again, nothing aggressive. I'm not putting the hand on the hilt of my axe or anything, but everything's within easy reach.
Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
I am well. How are you?
We're doing great tonight, or today. It's getting to be night, but a little bit out of our comfort zone walking around here. You wouldn't happen to be any good at directions around here, would you?
Sort of like movement of eyebrows as they ponder and say, depends on where you're trying to go.
We're trying to find this little town or hamlet, Muhtal.
Yep. That way. She points east.
Do I trust these directions?
You can roll an insight check. Uh, the it doesn't sound like a lie, and like there's something in the vocal chords and the way that it's spoken that sounds like a complete truth. But there's also something about the nature of the person in front of you that looks unnatural as they say it. Go ahead and give me give me a nature check as well. Okay. The way that it responded so quickly sort of tells you that it is a little bit programmed almost, but not robotically, but it's sort of like it has a call and response instinct to it. And as you think about it, you've heard of something referred to as a podling, which is sort of like you're just putting it together a little bit. This is a creature that was dissolved and eaten by another plant, and it's trying to like draw more people to the plant that needs more sustenance. Kind of like those like fish with the big bulb.
Anglerfish.
Yeah, anglerfish. It like has that vibe to it. This is the angler of a larger plant somewhere east that it is trying to pull you towards.
What are you guys doing out here? It's about to get dark.
Just cleaning up. So it sort of has the bag in front of it.
You don't mind me asking, what are you cleaning up and what's in the bag? Because this is pretty far out here.
Leaves. Somebody's got to rake them.
I stop and just look around the entire forest floor.
Yeah, there's an impossible amount of all leaves. This bag is perhaps full.
Leaves, you say? Yeah, so, anyways, this Muhtal place, have you been there?
Sure.
What's it like?
I could show you.
I like try not like breaking eye contact. I like tap 3 times on the back of Clax's probably shin or calf just to be like, hey, this is a bad idea.
Will I pick up on that?
Yeah, I mean.
All right. Yeah. Okay, just one. Yeah, you know what? You said it's this direction. I'm kind of pointing the general direction. I think I'm good. Turn down the mouse. You good?
I'm great.
Hey, ladies, good luck with your leaves. You have yourself a good one.
It's going to attack you.
Do I see the attack coming?
And shots get fired.
It does get like this is, let me be clear, this is a CR 1/2 creature. So it gets like a surprise round on you as it rolls a 16, which does not, this is like a meaty fist hitting Clax on the back of the shoulder for no discernible effect. As you hear it start to scream into your ear. Arrows fly, this thing disintegrates into a pile of goo. And as you realize that this was some kind of lure that seemed to be by itself. There was not a sort of like swarm of these things laying around, and now you know what to look out for.
Glad we didn't follow it east.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up on that mouse, and then I'm going to turn and kind of wave back to... Probably can't even see where Drada's at, but wave in the general direction of where the bolts came in from.
Didn't
That's-
know people could melt. That's fun.
I'm just gonna click this button because it is fun. You can. Oh no, it doesn't show you the whole ability. Dang it. But basically, it can eat you and give you points of exhaustion until you die, which is fun.
Oh, that's horrible.
But you all move on. And you avoid any kind of dangerous encounter there. Now, as you know that you are getting close as you sort of navigate around the area that this podling was pointing towards. And this last event, I'm not going to have anybody roll for because it's sort of, it is sort of just like a known space within the forest that that lies between here and Muhtal. But you all enter an area of forest that seems to be getting thinner and thinner, with some trees having been cut down or having been destroyed or harvested in some way or another. It hasn't really opened up into a full clearing yet, but it is certainly getting less dense as you do see a variety of tree trunks on the ground, like severed tree trunks that are littering areas of this forest floor. You also see a bunch of it does still strike you as a little odd though, because it doesn't seem like all of the logs have been taken away. Like, as these trees have been being cut down, you see that some of them have been left here and have had their cores removed. As you're sort of like entering an area of the forest that has sort of less visibility with the grass and leaves and more just like knocked over trees and fallen logs and some that have been hollowed and some that have not. You know that, like, as a result, like, you're able to discern that you're heading in the right direction because you're like, well, if they have this lumberjack activity here, then certainly this must be connected in some way. But it does have like a little bit of a foreboding feel to it. So I guess, like, as you guys are trying to navigate and close the distance on the Muhtal, is there anything in particular you're doing?
Is there any sort of like alchemy type thing that I would know of that someone would want to use the core of a tree for? Like, is there some special chemicals or something they might be extracting from this type of tree? Or
If you want to roll alchemist supplies, just sort of as a knowledge check. That's plus $1,000,000, Jesus. I saw the 3 and I was like, nope. But with the 16 though, I would still say, no, not necessarily. I mean, wood has so many purposes, and I think more than anything in the alchemy sphere, it's sort of used as a fuel source. So you're not sure that there's any connection to be made with alchemical reagents.
coring a log just seems like a lot of work for, I don't know.
Yeah, something's not right, but either way, I think other than just trying to be discreet, kind of moving forward, I don't think Clack's doing anything special.
How do you, like, it's a little bit of a difficult terrain situation. There's not any like clear paths to be walking. So like, what does your approach look like as you're trying to keep your stealth and get to see Muhtal?
Are there any humanoid footprints?
You can roll survival if you'd like.
I'd help with that.
Sure. you could roll with advantage. I'm sorry about your audio issues, Art. I feel bad. But you may roll investigation, Aesop, if you'd like. With regards to footprints, there are... I think what you sort of discern is that there are a number of these sort of more hollow logs that have caved in, as something heavy would have crushed it and made it sort of close up. And so you would imagine that either like a heavy individual or a heavy something or other has sort of flattened several of these hollow logs. You see there's sort of some of them have been sort of covered with moss and spores, and sort of have been scraped clean as they've been sort of stepped on and moved through as well. Aesop, with an investigation 18, I think what you realize is that inside of a number of these hollowed out logs, there seems to be some kind of light glowing energy. So with the group knowing that, is there anything you do?
Like when you say energy, what do you? What
Like
exactly? Do you,
there's like a very hard to see on a like without it. It doesn't emanate from outside of the log, but sort of like as Aesop is peering into one, there's sort of like a small blue pulse within one.
I think we probably just try to avoid the logs.
yeah, they growing something? Something burrow? Maybe hollowed out, so maybe there's some kind of creature that burrows in there. So we should... Flint, to your point, let's avoid them.
How do you go about that? There, you're on like a field of many logs, and I think like in many ways it's not easy. Like unless you're gonna take your time and like inch your way forward, it would be very difficult to check each and every log.
Well, I guess so. When you say hollowed out, right? So they're down on the ground, and it's from one of the ends, right? That's
Yeah.
hollowed in. So like we can just go over them, right? Now, obviously, there's a chance we're going to disturb whatever's in there, but it would still have to come out the end of the log, right?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, but you
If
also
there's
know that
anything.
they seem to collapse now and then.
Oh.
So
I mean, if we're not doing anything special, I think I should go in front. I'm not hindered by difficult terrain and have pretty good pathfinding skills. I'm usually pretty good at figuring out the best way through things.
Works for me.
I'm also the smallest,
I'm happy
and
to
like,
follow. It's true.
Yeah, I'm not
Just
sure.
gonna say I'm happy to follow behind you. I'm pretty good at jumping and dancing around if need be.
alternatively, I can become a bird and fly us over it.
roll me a wisdom check, Mouse.
Not super wise.
Yeah, you could do that.
Sounds fun.
And then ace up, 2 people can go make a path for the rest of us. So I think Mouse, because I don't know how many more times you can change into something. Do you want to lead the way, like you said, and then have Drata back you up and see if you guys can't scout the path, like Aesop said, and we just follow to the best of our ability?
Seems fine to me.
Let's
And
go.
Bardic inspiration for Mouse.
Woo.
Okay. So, I'm going to have Mouse roll a survival check with advantage if Drata's helping to try to map out the safest route through this. The safest does not guarantee success, because you sort of are taking the two lightest characters and having the heavier characters try to not try to not trip anything themselves. Okay, so
Bardic is only 10 minutes, so I'll go ahead and use that too.
sure.
30.
30. Okay. I think you and Drata are able to get through no problem with a 30, and have the confidence that you can do so. The challenge, which you recognize, is that even the path that you deem safest is going to be like Clax's armor weighs 5 times as much as you, and if not higher. So some of the and Aesop's a big boy, and even Flint has big metal instruments and whatnot. And so I think navigating this space, it's when you say how far is a stretch of logs, I mean this is like I think it's like 30 minutes worth of walking. It's not dimension doorable, if that's what you're sort of gauging. You're not going over like a canyon. You're trying to navigate this, like, what you can almost, you don't know what the deal is with this pulsing blue energy, but it has the vibe of like a minefield. And you're not sure where it ends necessarily. So unless there's more that you would do to change how you want to do this, so tell me what you want to do, but what if you're just walking over with Mouse and Drata's directions? The nature of this is that you guys are all going to roll a dexterity saving throw with advantage as you are trying to navigate on top of these tree trunks. The DC is low because of the 30 survival, but still.
I'm good with that.
Who is the least likely to be successful? Is that you, Clax?
I'm not sure.
I suspect we're all somewhere around the same range.
Oops.
Perhaps Aesop is like a point lower, but I don't think any of us are like particularly dexterous.
Before you take your roll, Art, I will give Aesop wheel and use my cosmic omen to give you an extra d6.
Okay. We'll go ahead and roll dex saving throws with advantage, and then any pluses.
And control or shift? I always forget this.
I think it's shift.
Guys, it's me.
Oh, dex save or dex check?
Save, technically.
Oops. Does that make any difference for me?
I'd assume it doesn't. Yeah, you're fine. So, Mouse, you're one of the people who mapped the course.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm
I'm light.
Yeah, and your light. So I'm going to let you roll one more time as if it was sort of like double advantage. But nobody can... I mean, you're on your own for this one a little bit. Okay.
Much better.
I think there's a moment where you misstep and jump off just before it cracks inwards, and you look down into the like sort of a light, not fully collapsed crack in this one log, and you see that there's like a little bit of that blue energy seems to be sparking a little bit. Not that it's like catching, not sparking in a way that it would ever catch on fire, but it has like this like green energy that looks like it's ready to explode. But you pull away from it, knowing that that is not a problem. And you all approach Muhtal. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll get into what that is.
Sounds good.
All right. So as you all navigate this sort of minefield of some sort, you start to watch as the forest gets thinner and thinner in the trees, and it starts to come into view. Although there are still some trees in this area, it starts to come into view of this sort of smallish village. You don't have a full view of everything from where you're standing, and my feeling is that right now you're trying to maintain stealth, of course, but sort of looking at it from the outskirts, it seems to be relatively small, that there are perhaps a handful of homesteads that are here. There does seem to be a sort of like farm and lumber mill area that that you'd have to sort of get closer to try to inspect any like detail. And there seems to be a somewhat large cauldron-shaped building, almost like a motif in that it has the walls of it are somewhat circular and rounded, and it's almost like there's like an upper floor that comes inwards and has like a spout almost shaped to it. It's almost like a like a comical facade of like a huge cauldron that takes up a sort of not a central space within this small village, but it does definitely like stands out a little bit. Looking through, I think at this point you're probably still a good 150 feet away. As you're looking into the space, there are a number of workers who are carrying sort of like either in teams of 2 or 4, are carrying different sized logs from one location to the other. And you do see like from some of these buildings that there are smokestacks coming from them. Some that have just sort of like a white steam that could be sort of like smoke. Sorry, not steam, but like a light smoke that somebody's using for a fireplace. But there are other hues and shades in here as well. It seems from some of the buildings there's green mist emanating from it, and some that there is red mist as well. So you're sort of, that is sort of like the basics I can give you as you're just sort of looking out at this, what seems like a worker community, like a remote lumber mill that is not really attached to any town, but sort of with the information you have, that there's sort of other mysteries to uncover here. So I would ask, sort of as you guys are looking at this, what is your approach?
Sorry, before we get into the approach, can we take a step back? You said green smoke coming from one of the chimneys.
Yes.
Do we have any reference of green flowers being used at all? Because I know we have the red and the blue. I'm trying to remember if there was anything with green.
Yeah, nothing that I have mentioned as a DM.
Okay.
I was about to say, could that be the alchemical fire, possibly, area?
Maybe.
And then there was also. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, at some point, there were certain colors associated with different schools of magic.
Very true.
Yes.
And
That
then
would be a necromantic flame.
Well, emerald was associated with necromancy.
there was
What's the
also a
green?
red smoke as well, which that might be with the red flower, right?
Yeah. That's what I was going with. I just didn't know if the green would be a flower that I didn't know about. So I was just kind of okay. Sorry. Thank you for entertaining my little diatribe, but
What time of the day is it? What time did we arrive here?
It is early evening. You imagine it's sort of like sunset within the next hour and a half.
Were we going to continue the night plan to kind of infiltrate or go through at night, or should we try investigating now? But that would risk us getting caught.
I mean, the fastest way in is to get walked in through the front door.
Well, what's our what do we think this looks like? What's our ideal scenario? Is it we just kill the guy in charge and then leave? Or is it like we under false pretenses go inside, say we're here for work, or we're a new adventuring guild looking for work or something, or I don't know what, and then try and find evidence that is damning, or are we just burning the place to the ground, make it look like it was some sort of accident and we were never here?
At least on my end. Oh, go ahead, Aesop. For you.
Oh, weren't we? I guess I forgot her name, but she also mentioned that the circus, the other part of the organization, they might be stopping here soon. So I guess we could wait for them as well. Another path.
I don't know if that's like in a day or a week or 2 weeks or I don't know.
So from my standpoint, I don't think it's nothing is set in stone. I think have the conversation, see if there's any chance of swaying, turning, shutting this down peacefully. And if not, then we get to have fun. And then as for your point, if we get to have fun, then we can figure out what it looks like. But seeing as we're playing with a guy who's known for alchemical fire, it'd be a real shame if this thing all just kind of burned up. Now, if you guys want to be discreet about it, go in. I like the idea of adventuring guild. We were hired by locals who came across the clearing and saw it being cleared out and didn't like the fact that the land was being repurposed, or druids, but I don't know, whatever. And then, they want us to kind of come in and clean things up. I'm really up for anything. I just want to make sure we get a chance to talk to this Grajin fellow and see what we can find out from him.
We're just an adventuring party who's just coming. We heard that you might be in need of assistance. There might be, I don't know, a large person-eating plant in the vicinity that might need taken care of. Do you need us to take that off your hands? Because we'd be happy to do so.
What if
How do we get through the part of the conversation where we somehow manage to get to the facility without triggering any of the alarms, without anybody knowing?
We were proving ourselves. I mean, it speaks to our resume that we could make it here at all, locate them, get through the traps.
It's true.
Well, and I mean, we could say we're a new adventuring guild, but we heard about this star temple in the region that we were here for. Like, we're not here for anything to do with them, and we just stumbled across their camp while we're looking for it, or ran out of supplies and needed a place and saw their fires or something. I don't know.
I think the problem with that is then they can just point us towards the Star Temple and tell us to leave. Whereas I think working for them or working gives us more reason to be at the camp and perhaps get more information. So maybe we don't have to kill everyone.
I'm just trying to.
Just like some.
It seems a little weird for us to come all this way just to ask for a job. Like, I feel like we need a reason we're here. And maybe
we trying to get in on drug trading? Or do we want to become part of the operation? We were sent here because we met insert person here that could have connected us.
We can say we met the people they sent to consonants. And they
We
sent
could-
like a bird carrier messenger over, but it must have been lost in the mail somewhere. Crazy.
We could also go out of left field and be messengers from Krex or Brenstriana or someone who didn't want to use official channels because they were worried about it getting intercepted. I had this dream once.
You had a dream? were you gonna?
You're just leaving it there? Okay.
What was the dream?
It was sort of a whole heist. We were all pretending to be people we weren't so we could get inside of a place. And then
And one of us was named, something like Ariel Blanchette, and there was a very large museum that we had to steal things from. Yep, that was it.
how do you know this?
I have vivid dreams as well. So yeah, are we investigating? Are we walking straight into town? What's the cover? Let's make some decisions.
Alright. Sounds like we're going with we're an adventuring guild and need some work. I'm just trying to decide how, what the, reason we chose this place to look for work.
Did we
I kinda
get run off
I
the
kinda
road on the way to continents?
I kind of like Mouse's
Go on some
idea.
wild strike.
Where we're pretend we're messengers, but we don't do Krex. We do someone else who we haven't talked to yet. So if someone gets the information out that we were sent by Brenstriana, I think that was her name, right? We could use her, and then someone gets it back to Vaughn, and then Brenstriana gets down. I don't know. I'm playing it all in my head, but I like that idea. Seems fun.
Gianna sent us to take back a sample or something for her and wanted me to inspect operation thing?
Works.
And that way, if information gets out of what happened here, Brenstriana is implicated in that because we used her name.
All right. I like all of this. My only concern is I think traditionally many of us are not good liars.
What?
Excuse me.
Okay, so who here is a good liar? Obviously myself.
Well, I mean, I know I am too, but it's...
You all can never tell what I'm
hearing is
lying.
you're gonna do
Mouse, do you lie?
Well,
you know what a lie is?
Half truth. There we go.
well, no, but I mean, like, you didn't know that.
Whoa.
That's true. That's true. This is true. I'm learning new stuff about you every day.
Okay, so what I'm
Inside
hearing is
check.
Flynn's gonna do all the talking.
It's a planning episode, man.
All right. So Brinstriana sent us. We're here to get a sample of the vapor for her to do some testing on and for me to inspect their process.
Sure. Good enough. Let's go.
All right.
No. What are all of our stories to go alongside this? I will not be surprised.
We're
at
bodyguards.
the moment. Okay, well, I buy that for class. I don't necessarily buy that for the rest of us.
I mean, I think we're still an adventuring party. We just
Okay.
got hired to do this work because I could do alchemy and we could survive the trip
And
here.
you're from Cambridge, so you would know
Yeah.
the city.
Yeah.
Cool. So Flint's our leader. We're an adventuring party.
Oh, I didn't say I'm
Come to
the
this
leader.
party.
I feel like you implicated yourself into that.
I just am the alchemist in the group.
You're not the leader, but you're going to be doing all of the talking and doing a lot of decisions.
You're gonna be great. And I push him forward and cast guidance.
All right, sure. Go for it.
I think as we get closer, DM, I think just to like keep myself guarded or at least safe, at least in my head, I think I'm gonna cast Disguise Self, but the only thing I'm gonna change is that I'm gonna go from Two Tails to Wen.
Actually,
So I'll put that in chat.
That's it?
Well, I mean, oh, maybe I should. It's only gonna last an hour.
It'll be fine. Do we all need code names?
no.
I was going to say, we don't necessarily need code names, but I would love a different guild name, maybe? So they don't connect
I
the
think-
left stars.
I don't think we say we're a guild. I just think we're an adventuring party.
Yeah, that was hired.
Yeah, that's fine.
Before we go in, and sorry, Aesop, you're getting left out because I think you can handle your own. I'm actually gonna drop guidance and cast Enhance Ability and give Upcast it at 4th level
Ooh.
so that me, Flint, and Clax can all have advantage on charisma checks.
Oh boy.
Damn.
Love that for y'all.
Jordan, I mean, you know, we can handle it, right? If we want code names, I could be Plato instead of Aesop, you know, switch things up a little bit, you know, fit the theme.
But we only have an hour, so it's time to go.
Okay.
Although I'm gonna let you make up details if you want, because I haven't written. So because I heard in there that you're gonna pretend to be part of another adventuring guild, and it occurs to me that you've researched 2 unnamed adventuring guilds. So I'm gonna give you the choice. Are you trying to lie about a adventuring guild that doesn't exist, in which case just let me know in advance, or are you trying to pretend to be one of these other adventuring guilds that you know about? Or sorry, you're just an adventuring party, you're not part of a guild, but like, are you trying to... Okay, sorry, I forgot that. Never mind.
Fair.
Okay, so for an hour, there are a number of people with advantage on charisma. Okay. You guys just walk on up.
Hustle our way in there.
Okay.
Look for somebody that looks like they're in charge.
What is... So, just... this is like marching order, just more insofar as how you're positioning yourselves. Who is like the front man?
I think I am.
I'll be right there, right behind him, though.
Okay.
I was about to say, should I be close in case for like persuasion backup?
Yes.
And then I could also say that I'm like more of a magical bodyguard, like, because, you know, we've had people be like, oh, what can you do? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I do magical things. I can hype that up if need be. But yes, I'll stay by you, Flint.
Guess I'll work and try to be a little bit hidden and if you need a lovely dramatic reveal of, but wait, there's another one, I'm happy to provide.
Okay, so probably Flint, Clax in the sort of frontmost area, Aesop Mouse in the middle, and then Drada in the back. As you guys are approaching, now I mentioned there are several areas between just sort of like the village area, the lumber yard, or this like cauldron building. Is there any like particular direction you're trying to focus on, or just like make your like just enter closest place to you and see what happens?
I imagine Cauldron would probably be the one we want to kind of head towards. Yes, no?
Is that like the biggest, most important looking building?
It's the most standout building. You have no idea if it's important or not, but
Yeah, we can say we were just sent to go to the cauldron if anyone asks. Or like a cauldron-like building.
Well, and we could say we're just here for Grajin.
Even better.
It's gonna go great.
it is. You guys walk in to the perimeter, I would say, of just the town in general, heading into the direction of the cauldron, without any stealth approach, as I understand. Within just I think like you pick up on this within the first minute, is that you do start to get glances from a number of the lumber workers who are sort of working and doing something. None of them seem to stop what they're doing, but there's definitely like a recognition of like, who are these people? And like, I don't recognize them. And you sort of hear like fringe whispering as you start to like pass down one alley or another. Nobody stops you immediately in your sort of trek here. And you're only passing by like 4 or 5 people on your way to the cauldron. So as you start to get closer, you see a sign up in front. Like it's pretty rudimentary. This is not a place that has like amazing branding. This is a startup village, right? But you see like a pretty rudimentary sign that says the boiling over pot. And you get just like just from the outside, you get a hint that this is the equivalent of a tavern, perhaps. Although even just looking on like through the crack on the door in the front, you see that it is very red in the inside.
Like when you say red on the inside, as in red light,
Yeah,
or as in
like glowing light. Yes.
okay.
I'm just gonna try the door, I guess. If there's
Sure. Let me pull you guys into this space. I hope this doesn't break your computer, Art.
Ooh, interesting.
As you sort of walk into this space, first things first, I need everybody to make a Constitution saving throw.
That's okay.
better.
Ooh.
Is this one of those things that I get an advantage on for being a forest gnome? What are those?
Good question.
I don't know that it applies to con saves. I think it's just...
Yeah, it's not a poison effect. I don't know if it's...
I normally... Yeah, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saves against magic, not...
This is a very much this is something that you feel as you're sort of just getting a whiff of this space. So like Drada and Flint, you can pull back and stay outside if you don't want to sort of like you feel like your senses are becoming a little bit more loose as you just even get a whiff of this place. So the question is, do you want to continue going in?
I have a question. Can I choose not to breathe?
Yes, you may.
Okay,
As a matter of fact.
cool.
Knowing this whole area makes vapor and it appears red and smelly, I will pause at the door, outside of like the bulk of it, but with the door open, and see if anyone approaches us before I go just marching in.
So you're just sort of like hanging out here as everybody else makes themselves known. So just giving a sort of brief description of what you see. There's sort of like an upper area that you are on now, and then in the middle it sort of like dips down and gets deeper. So you're sort of like looking down at a central like bar area. This upper platform has a variety of tables around it. And you see coming from different sensors on the walls that there are a number of light fixtures that are emanating that are sort of like evaporating this water that is sort of beset within them. You do get this sort of distinct impression. It's almost like a hookah lounge of sorts, except for vapor, as the air here is sort of permeated with this effect. Those of you who enter and see Flint pause at the door, you're sort of like looking down, and there seems to be in the middle here, there is this one large cauldron that just has like a cosmic swirl of colors within it. So you're sort of looking down and you can see the liquid bubbling from within. And you have no idea what the hell, like it is just sort of like shimmering with different light.
Nothing's spilling out of it. Like
yeah, nothing's spilling out of it. Yeah.
Okay.
The general vibe that you get is you do see, I think that if you're trying to not be stealthy, and you sort of like the door swings open and has a creak, you do see one of the individuals down here at the bottom sort of looks up at the upper level towards those of you who have entered so far and says, "New faces? You here for a drink?" And he has sort of like a glazed over look in his eyes.
We are new in town, but I think we maybe found the wrong place. Where can we find Grajin?
You can't even see the person you're talking to if you're staying outside.
Oh, see, I was really waiting for somebody else to talk.
This is like, yeah, this is somebody shouting down from the middle pit area.
Just yell, "I think we're good. We just got into town, but looking for Grajin first. Need to check in."
Grajin, eh? Sort of like narrows his eyes at you. Give me a persuasion check.
I do have advantage on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Persuasion. I have not rolled too many of these. There it is. Oops. And let me get the advantage. Nope. 14.
Okay, 14's not bad. He does sort of say, and who'd you say you were? Where are you from?
I didn't say where I was from. But thanks for asking. Appreciate it.
He's like, he usually swings by at night. The boss has got a home down in town. I don't know where he is right this second. But you could wait for him here, or you can go looking for him.
I don't know if I'm gonna go looking for him. Maybe I'll go explore town and come back in a little bit for a beer, but kind of get my bearings. Where else do you recommend I check in around here first? Just in general, to get the feel for the town. Other than the lumber mill, like.
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you need a place to stay, it'd probably be I don't know, actually.
Well, depending on what Grajin says, we may be here for a while, so I just want to get the lay of the land and where everything's at. So if you think there's nothing else really to check in and it's just hanging out here, we can hang out here, but figure I'd take this opportunity since he won't be around for a bit and go explore.
You see that this guy has turned around back to his work. There's a sense that he's not totally there right now.
Fair. I was gonna ask if anyone in this vicinity that I could see is paying attention to this conversation, or at least like quizzical and looking over. I imagine maybe.
Roll an insight check for me if you'd like.
Yes, I will.
I would love to do something similar. Oh, echoing sounds. That's fun. Yeah, just particularly noticing if like anyone seems lucid enough to be questioning of us right now.
Sure, if you want to roll insight as well.
I'm looking for the opposite. I'm looking for someone who's so far gone they're not paying attention.
That might be more of a... Just because we've already rolled 2 insights, I want to ask you to roll medicine for that. Oop. I think Aesop, you are a little out of your element here. Draw, do you think that the individual down here, sort of seems to be sizing you all up, maybe like trying to discern your skill set, like sort of seeing a bunch of people come in with a shield and like, you know, a hand crossbow and things, and trying to like figure out, like they're less looking at trying to suss out who you are and trying to figure out what you do. And they seem to be, but they do seem to be paying attention.
And I'm sorry, which one was that?
There's this individual down here at the bar.
Oh, down there. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Medicine of a 6, I think that you're not sure. It seems like whatever's in the air here, you could expect that being in it too long could dull anybody's senses. And I think you even know that for yourself, of like, the longer you stay here, the more rolls you might have to do.
Get out of here. Doesn't seem like the place we were looking for.
All right.
We're just saying that because you can't handle it.
Well, you guys step out then. What do you try to do then? I think like you close the door behind you and you all feel like a little bit of a sense of relief as this very light vapor effect sort of wears off immediately. It's just the air in there was heavy, is how I would describe it.
Can I just sort of like look around and maybe as we do like a little bit of a loop of in like most central part of this village and just see if there's a place that looks like a workshop or an office or anything of that kind of nature?
Sure. The town is not tremendously big, but I will say the more time you sort of spend exploring the edges of it, the less time you'll have with your enhanceability. So it's like the more direct you are, the more you might be able to use that. But
I don't think I'm trying to go way far away from this. Just
yeah,
because I'm assuming you can see most of it from where we're standing, and things, and just trying to figure out like if something looks like more of a workshop or a place where people would actually be working and not just stoned.
Yeah. Just give me an investigation check, spending like 10 minutes walking a few
I
of
was
the
a-
dirt roads.
I was about to say, I saw what me and Mouse both saw what Grayson looked like through the vision. Maybe we could cast Ascending and be like, we've arrived, Brinstriana's convoy, meet us at blah blah blah.
I will tell you that you're not sure if it will work, but I will be, normally I rule it that you have to at least met the person, but you are right that
I
you've
see.
sort of met them, just that they weren't there for that.
Yeah. And it wasn't a mutual,
yeah.
like,
I think you would know that there's a chance it will work.
uh-huh.
Because that rule exists so that you don't just like message the king at 2 a.m, you know?
Right.
I mean, we've had no reason. Like, what would Grajin know that? Like, would that put Grajin more off guard? Is what I think is the base of what I'm trying to.
It might.
He did seem a little paranoid.
With the investigation 13, the nature of the lumber mill seems to be that it is sort of in I don't want to say like full operation. There's not enough people here for things to really be bustling, so to speak. But you do hear the sounds of like one of those back and forth 2-man saws going at it at the lumber mill, as well as sort of just sort of walking the streets. You hear the sound of some like quiet conversations in some of the houses, no voices that you recognize, but yeah, with the 13, you're struggling to find anything specific, I think.
Maybe try sending him a message, I guess. See if we can spook him into meeting us. Say we've arrived. We're the envoy from Brinstiana to do an inspection or something.
Inspection and samples, I think we talked about, right?
Yeah. Maybe make it seem like we assumed he knew we were coming, like, or something like that.
Yeah, I guess be like, we finally arrived. We'll meet at the, what was that, boiling overpot?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone have any objections before I try?
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
Roll me a d20 first. And you do not want to get a 1 or a 2.
Hot.
Okay. What message do you send?
I'm going to put it in chat just so spell is used up. Great. I'll say official envoy from Brinstriana has arrived. Meet at Boiling Overpot to go over samples like we've discussed.
You get a response that sort of starts out with an expletive that you don't even know what it is. It's something gnomish, perhaps. And says, genuinely, no idea what you're talking about. Very infuriating. I'll find you.
He's mad. But I did say we meet him here, and so we don't have to deal with the inside of whatever that was. We can just wait out here.
I'm just gonna be on alert now for any patrols, anything like somebody sent up. Hopefully he's worked up enough. He's just coming straight to us to talk, and we can kind of go from there. But still want to kind of keep an eye out and maybe indicate to Drada. Drada might want to. Actually, I'll just turn Drada. We're starting to get towards the evening. I think there's a lookout you could kind of find.
It's almost like I was just going to ask if nighttime had arrived yet. I would love at this point.
Not Drada levels of nighttime.
Okay, I would love to. Yeah, if there is more of a place where I could, even if it's like a little corner or like next to a bush or like just an eave of a building, somewhere where I am not immediately visible, I think that might be great.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a stealth check for me. There's a variety of things. So yours are sort of like in the middle of town, I think, at this point. There's a number of buildings that there's a couple like wagons and stones and like little gardens and things like that. So there certainly is somewhere nearby that you can hide behind. With the 24,
Great.
You know that's within Drada's average, so you feel that amount of confidence.
Well, before I do so, also just like would love to set this going forward. If there's ever a time where I'm lurking, doing my thing, say we were meeting up hodling for the first time and you got bad vibes, a signal, a code word, something to just let me know that oops, things are going bad and I should act in a certain way, shape, or form that could eliminate a threat.
Salute.
Great, love that.
Exploding kumquat.
Both at the same time? Do
I
you
think
salute and say...
Depending how far away Drada is, he may not
both
hear.
in okay.
Yeah, so I think maybe a gesture of some kind.
Flint, is this the part where you take over the conversation? I can be like your magical clerk, magical bodyguard, here to take notes and help you inspect.
Sure. Yeah. So you're
Okay.
Plato.
I'm Plato.
You're Plato. We got Edward. Whatever. Fireface over here.
It works. Fireface it is.
And
Mouse.
just Mouse. You want to be some other small woodland creature?
Nobody ever remembers my name anyway.
I think everybody.
Why would you say that?
You need self-respect, and I shouldn't say that, but
I'll be Flint.
also, no,
That's problematic too. I'm gonna be
Class
Alphonse.
should go as Harry because he loved being a rabbit / hare so much that just took over his entire personality. That's all. Thank you. Goodbye.
What's your name? So, Flint.
Sorry, I'm making a Full Metal Alchemist joke. We've already got an Edward, so I'm Alphonse.
I see.
And you're in full play. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
you
it is.
Yeah, that's great.
Mouse is cat.
That's a good thing.
I think you guys are Drada. Well, you guys are having this conversation, who's keeping watch, right? Yeah, I assume Clax. Go ahead and roll me a perception check, Clax.
Oh, now we're back to normal.
Super high. A few minutes pass. Andrada, you are wherever you need to be. And eventually I'm not really on any particular map right now. Just gonna bring you guys back here. You all eventually are met by a tiefling, sort of like a female tiefling who has sort of like round face and a few piercings in her right eyebrow. It seems to be sort of like has a cloak on, or sort of like a robe of sorts on. And two other figures who are with her that carry these large sort of like great axes on their backs. They're not wielding them actively or anything, but you know, with all the lumber work here, you sort of imagine that axe, they are more of a tree cutting sort of axe, although you know that certainly you could do some serious damage with them. The tiefling woman sort of looks at you all and says, I believe you are here to see Grajin. Is that accurate?
Yep, that's right.
And you are here on behalf of...
Prince Gianna sent us? I think she's pretty particular about how you pronounce her name, but I think that's right. But yeah, I think she should have sent word. Here to do an inspection, pick up some product.
Roll me a persuasion check with, well, deception, I'm going to say. With advantage, of course.
Here it is.
Big energy. Big energy.
Not sure what's happened. Hang on, I might have to refresh. I'm on a gray screen. Not sure. Apparently I tabbed out to look at my notes for too long. All right, here we go.
Okay. She says, okay. I could take you to him. Sort of looks at just the four of you because Drada isn't in view and says, we can meet him in his workshop, so if you will follow me.
Sure thing. And can I, and I don't know, maybe this is just part of that deception check, try to act like someone who doesn't have proficiency in the like armor and shield that like I'm carrying, like someone who's just been like crammed into this for his own protection, but like just seems a little too heavy or awkward or whatever.
Yeah.
Again, Flint's not much of an actor, so
Yeah, I mean, we'll make that a performance check because it's sort of
fair.
a little bit different.
As I was about to say, I think I was going to try to do my own little acting performance, acting as like a clerk walking next to Flint, have my book out, and I'm actually writing notes. I want to like have notes that are actually written. And I guess every once in a while, I'll look at Flint and probably detail something in the distance, like, oh, this many workers at the lumber mill, green, red smoke coming out of the cauldron building, more like inspection notes, perhaps, and comments.
as you're all being sort of escorted, I just sort of ask Drada, are you just following from the shadows?
That's the plan.
Okay. Um,
And while we walk, just in general, kind of know thy enemy of the tiefling, just get an idea, or know your enemy.
okay. Remind me, or I think you have to
Yep,
choose
you're
some
good.
stuff.
Yep. Take your time. I'll come back to me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Let's go with, are their class or total level higher than ours?
No.
Okay. And then, that kind of takes away. To the, probably should look at one of the other guys. Ace, let's go with dexterity.
Yours is
Mine is 11.
higher.
Okay. I don't know how helpful that was either, but I'm working on it. I'll get there.
So I'm assuming she's in front of us, right? I will, as part of my performance with Flint, I will walk up to the tiefling and be like, as per the point we were requested to make, can I please get your name?
She kind of gives you an eyebrow and says, I am Marali. Marrali. She'll spell it out for you, seeing that you're taking notes.
Yeah.
I suppose that begs the question, who are you all?
Plato.
I'm Alphonse. Fireface over here is Roy, and we've got Cat.
Meow.
How fucking dare you?
Interesting.
She's here for our protection.
So wait, are you wild shaped into a cat, or are you're just you're just mouse? Okay, I'm just making sure I understood correctly. She's like, very well. And you're here with Brinstriana's blessing.
Hired us to come pick up some samples, do an inspection. I'm a bit of an alchemist myself.
What's your relationship with her? You see that she's leading you to, like, yeah, as you sort of, it's very clear where you're going now. You're being led to a building that has, it's like a 2-story building that has sort of like all sorts of vines growing out the window that are sort of like have different, it's like a little herbalist's shop. There's all sorts of like little planters that are hanging outside the window, and all sorts of overgrowth that feels intentional. It's like one building that sort of stands out a little bit more among the homesteads as being a little bit more nature based.
I think I'll respond to her and be like not even look up in response to her, but just be like, we're an adventure party, hired, paid for discretion. Honestly, no idea, but we were just sent to do a job.
Well, this would be a first then. So, right this way. And she sort of leads you into the room, or into this somewhat small building as she opens the door. And you see that there are a few other individuals who are sort of like mixing different, like as you enter it, instead of being more of like an herbalist workshop, you do see that there are sort of like a more alchemical approach. This does seem to be like it's sort of a mixture of both, though. You do see, you look around and there's like a lot of different flowers and leaves spread around. There's a lot of like produce as well, like foods, almost like a functional kitchen, but you also see that there's like some, like a piece of pumpkin that's been like chopped up and put inside of a flask, and like whatever's going on here, I would say, like with base knowledge, Flint, this looks like experimentation. It doesn't look like they're making like a pumpkin bomb. You know what I mean? As Morali sort of leads you in, there's sort of two of these robed figures similar to her, although these are one of them's like a half elf and the other seems to be a human, that are sort of working on different tables in this room. And she sort of says, I've brought the inspectors to come see you. They say they've been sent here by Brinstriana. And from an upper level, you sort of an upper level in this room, you do see the familiar look of Grajin, who sort of looks down on you. Before getting too deep onto what happens inside, like Drada, from your perspective, your friends have sort of entered this building that does have like a window looking inward on the second floor, but like you don't really have a clear view of everything inside. You sort of just see like the shapes of your friends and like a door that if you don't do anything, it's going to close behind them soon.
Wait, the window on the second floor.
No, sorry. There's. Oh, sorry. I interrupted you.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, like, if I tried to be sneaky, get on a roof and look down through the window, would I have sight on what's happening?
So the window's open, and so you could just climb through it. Being on the roof, you wouldn't be able to see anything because, like, or unless you were just sort of hanging off the roof to see.
I think I would probably take a moment to pass without trace myself and climb through.
Okay. Just go ahead and give me an updated stealth check just for security on this.
Yeah, that's a 36.
Pretty good. As Morali sort of introduces Grajin, she kind of gives him a look as, and she had been sort of like with these two lumberjack individuals who step into the room behind you, and she leaves. I'm going to go ahead and just bring up a map so we're familiar with what's going on. So Drada sort of climbed in through this window up here, and Grajin is currently looking down off this like sort of balcony towards the four of you. There are these two like lumberjack individuals here sort of blocking this leftmost door. There does seem to be another door here that you didn't necessarily see because of the angle you were coming in on, but it does seem to be like a second exit of this building. And then here, just like the two other individuals who are working in here. Grajin looks down at sort of all of you from this balcony, and Drada, you're not like actually invisible, but like nobody's paying attention to you as you're just sort of like burying yourself, I guess, in the foliage here, or just peeking through the window from the outside. And Grajin just sort of looks down at you all and says, I don't know your faces. And as far as I recall, nobody's supposed to be coming to check in on me. Least of all, Brinstriana. So I need some answers.
She said she was going to send notice. God, everybody's so incompetent. Sorry, she said it was mostly about picking up product, but wanted us to look around. Honestly,
Who are you?
I'm Alphonse. We're just a small adventuring party trying to do some work. Little tight on funds. We took a random job for this uptight lady in Flamebridge.
Does Flint wear his glasses at all times? Like,
I think so, yeah.
Okay. He sort of like looks down down at you all and just sort of says, "Let me see your eyes."
Sure. Flint will take his glasses off.
I'm going to. Does he have to like? Does Flint have to move forward in order for him to do whatever he needs to do? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
No, nothing. Yeah, I mean, Grajin has a view of the entire party from above, and so nobody has to really move.
Okay. Do I know what I need to do to give bardic inspiration? Is it vocal? Is it just touch? It doesn't say on the description, nor does it give a VCS.
I think it's. I mean, you could just pat him on the shoulder if you really wanted to.
Okay.
It's whatever flavor you want.
I think I'm going to give him his inspiration, just in case something happens.
Grajin sort of looks down at you. What color are Flint's eyes, do you think?
Man. Like greenish, but mostly brown. Like
he seems to be inspecting you closely. And says, Alphonse what?
Deepwater.
You sure it's not dark water?
No. Deepwater.
Give me a deception check.
Trying to rack my brain if I remember dark water from anywhere now.
Well, I don't know if you're maybe my notes aren't lining up with yours and you said deep water, but my notes say dark water.
Oh. 11. Yeah, I'll use this bardic inspiration.
Yeah.
Why not?
Roll big. Yeah, that's about right.
Now, what would a dark water be doing here?
I don't know what to tell you. We're an adventuring guild from Flamebridge area. And
from Bryn Striana. Are you sure it wasn't Bryn Striana?
I told Tiefling lady on the way in. She's real particular about her name, and I'm bad with names. It's something like that.
She's pretty good at correcting people, though. After I got corrected, I picked up on it pretty quick. Bryn Striana. All
right.
Bryn Striana. What's her last name?
Gosh, what was it? It was Gallon. I don't know. I didn't say it much, and she was particular about it. Gallendell, something like that.
And tell me why you're really here.
Just trying to make a buck. She sent us to.
You see, I mean, there's I think nobody has to roll. You see people are tightening grips around axes and things of that nature. The individuals at the tables, they seem to be putting their hands on different flasks that are held at their belts.
Might kind of glance over at Clax, kind of a how do you want to handle this sort of look.
If you give me the look, are you giving me the look?
I mean, I'm glancing up there. I think in Flint's head, it's a. Are we telling him what we're really here about? But it might come off as a. How do you want to do this?
I think for the and I'm just saying this for like Drada's awareness is like there's no surprise round at this point. Everybody is on alert. And Grajin sort of looks at all of you and says, so we have a Darkwater and a merry bunch of various folks. We have a Dragonborn, we have a Minotaur, we have a Halfling, maybe I'll write that down myself.
Well, if you're writing stuff down, it's Roy Flameface. Just so you can get it straight.
You see, I mean, you see, I don't know that he has an awareness that you are resistant to fire, but you see fire start to apparate in his hand as he says, oh, Flameface can happen.
Now, see here, I am just giving you my name, and I get this kind of reaction. You know, it really makes me just kind of want to just salute and go home. And upon saluting, I hope Drada saw me. I am going to go after the nearest person with a flask and take them down.
All right. Well, there's no surprise around.
Nope. Just full-blown tackle to start. I'm not pulling a weapon. Just gonna try and tackle.
We're still gonna do initiative.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no surprise round, but does Drada?
No, Drada is hidden. Like they don't know. Like Drada will have advantage on the first attack, but like everybody is on alert and ready to fight.
Where am I? There I am.
Flint's starting to think that maybe he's not as good a liar as he thinks he is.
Then I hope you guys don't mind me kicking this off.
Who has
But I felt we were kind of at an impasse.
Who has the best deception in this party? I'm now just very curious.
By far a thought.
Should Drada have the mouse special, the alacrity, gift of alacrity? I
If
assume
we didn't
yes.
cast it, that's fine.
Well, we probably did at the beginning of last session. That's what I'm trying to. I assume mouse does it as a rule.
Yeah.
So roll a d8, Drada.
Yep.
Okay, so 14. Alrighty.
Which I can't remember if we rested in between but at some point I gave us all 12 temp hit points.
Yes.
And I don't think we rested since then.
Correct. You have not.
I know mine reset.
And Drada does not have those 12 temp hit points. Sorry.
It was 13.
13,
actually, because
yeah.
they're still on my sheet.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Right, my intelligence has went up at some point.
As sort of you salute, there's like they don't know that you have a signal, but they see. I think they see people like you grabbing your weapon, or at least like you moving any kind of inch towards hostility. And this first individual sort of looks up at Grajin, who says, "Get out of the way." And this guy backs off. And on Grajin's turn, without any care, why can't I not? There it is. Without any care, immediate care of the vicinity, is going to start off with just like a little fireball. In this wooden structure.
Counterspell. Oh wait.
If the four of you and this one ally of his could roll a dex saving throw. Nope, that ally does not succeed.
And that's not targeting just me, so. Eee.
Oh, and Flint.
I'm
Flint, roll a d10 as well.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. I was just trying to see if there was a. I think I can just click this.
That's DC 18, huh?
Oh, it doesn't roll.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna reroll that. I'll take it.
So you're currently resistant to necrotic, and that's for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So all of you except for Drada, of course, take 29 fire damage. For Klax, that is 14 because you're resistant.
Yep.
As Grajin lights this area on fire, I'm leaving the radius here because this ground is now also on fire, as the wooden boards of his own studio seem to just ignite. And he takes a step back just to like be a little further away from the heat, but he still has his back to you, Drada. This individual who is not part of or was not in the fire is going to lob an alchemical flask at, I would say, just the closest person, which is probably Mouse. I should have said that before I rolled. Sorry. But Mouse gets bonked on the head with a flask. And you are now on fire as well. I think that's, on hit the target. So you don't actually take damage right away. You have to spend your action to extinguish the flames. So just for the time being, you're on fire.
Did it hit though?
It hit, but you don't take impact damage. Sorry, it rolled the d4 automatically when it shouldn't have.
Oh, I'm just confused why there's both an attack and a dex save. But
That's to put
the
it out, yeah.
I
Sorry.
didn't finish reading, I understand.
Nope, all good. I didn't realize it worked that way. So Mouse catches on fire. We'll keep that roll if you want to use it to put yourself out, but Drada, it's your turn as all hell just sort of unleashes in here.
Woohoo! So fun. I think I'll probably, start like run. Take my 2 shots and my red ambush. Bonus action Hunter's Mark on my way. And would love to start running on the wall. Actually.
Who are you putting this on?
On Grajin.
Okay,
Actually,
got it.
Yeah. And running on the wall down this way. Essentially towards
Like a Matrix wall run.
Yeah, Matrix wall run, and we'll go this way, away from the fire and away from Grajin, and towards the person who's taking their turn.
Okay. So the first shot is going to be with advantage because you are not seen. The second shot will be a straight roll.
Oh, good. Love advantage for that.
That does hit. So
Actually,
sneak attack.
Can I
go ahead.
Can I also say I bonus actioned at the start to Hunter's Mark?
Yeah.
Begin everything.
Yeah, no, I heard you say that. Yeah. So Hunter's Mark
Great.
plus sneak attack added to this.
Wait for that. And then 2 more shots.
That is also a hit for 9 and plus Hunter's Mark as well. Okay, so that's okay. And this is the Dread Ambusher attack, right? The third one, which also does hit.
Yes.
So plus 1d6 plus 1d8 for that as well.
1d8.
All right. 19, 23, 32, 40. Wait, sorry. I just kind of forget how crazy it gets.
I think 51, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As
Yes, I think
Jesus.
The automatic
Drata
crit things that assassin gets work. Is that like he has to go first?
It has to be a surprise round for that, I believe.
Yep.
And they have to have not acted yet or something like that. This is not those conditions though. So significant blows as he sort of gets peppered from arrows. He starts shouting, "There's more of them! I'm getting out of here." As your turn ends, Mouse.
Yeah. I will bonus action archer form. And I'll shoot at Grajin because he just caught me on fire.
Fair. That does hit. Sorry, I'm just rolling the 1d4 fire damage that you would take as well. So he does suffer 7 radiant damage.
I'm going to move away from the rest of the party so we're harder to catch on fire and so that I don't catch everyone else on fire. And then I'm just going to mass cure wounds us because I was real confident all of our fights were going to be outside today.
If you move one more step, you'll be out of the fire, I think.
Alrighty, 15 for all allies. Unless you want to heal the enemies, but I'm assuming not.
No, thank you.
Is that the end of your turn?
It is indeed.
Alrighty. This individual who is next to Aesop shouts out to Grajin, "I'll cover you," and runs past Aesop. You do have an opportunity attack if you wanted to take it. I don't know that you have. You do have your long sword, I suppose.
I do, but using that as a reaction will make me lose silvery barbs or not be able to use silvery barbs, so I'm not gonna do that.
And as this one comes up, they look like they were getting ready to perhaps block the path here, but they see Drata and just take a swing instead.
I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I don't think we see, or at least I don't, are these the Hermetics, the Axes guys?
You don't see them at all?
I don't see their tokens. I see them in the initiative order.
Can you refresh? And is it just you?
Yeah, I see him.
Okay. All right, just must be then. I'll just refresh.
Drata, if you want to suffer a measly 4 slashing damage as this great axe comes swinging down on you. That is the end of that guy's turn, and Clax.
All right. So I am going straight for Grajin since he said he's trying to skedaddle. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Oops. I guess I have to do this in sections. Is there... The way out looks like it would be down the door on the first floor, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a window here, and there's the 2 doors on the lower level.
All right. How's he looking? Does he look pretty beat up? Is he?
I mean, any round with Drata shooting in the back is not a good round. He's not like on death's door or anything, but he does look hurt.
All right. Pretty much as I'm swinging at him, I'm just gonna say, be easier if you just sit quietly for a minute, and then I'm gonna swing at him either way. So take a first attack. My axe. 17.
That's a miss.
Okay. Okay. Second attack. Oh, that is absolutely a miss. Okay. I am going to go ahead and burn my action surge. And now I'm going to attack again.
Okay.
And I will use precision if... Oh, God. I'm going to use... was it? Not precision, but...
Precision would
precision
add
with
to
that,
it, yeah.
Yep. Big number. All right.
21 does hit.
Okay. Crap damage, but 8 slashing. And then next attack. Oh, man. I'm going to use another precision.
Okay.
Um...
I mean, he is being hurt.
I was hoping to take care of him though with 4 attacks. Only hit on half of them.
That
All
does hit as well. Yes.
Yep. So
9 more.
7. Yeah. And then from a bonus action standpoint, I think I'm good.
Alrighty.
That's
Flint.
Does Grajin look like he's wearing armor of some kind?
He looks to be... No, not necessarily. You're not quite sure what his defensive capabilities are, but he doesn't have like a breastplate on or anything.
Right. I think in that case, I'll just run 5, 10, 15. I don't want to be next to that guy though. If I run over.
Actually, I want to give you a perception check on the previous statement.
Oh, okay. Not great.
Yeah,
11?
not great. Yeah, no.
All right. Why can't I move?
There's like walls here because this is an upper level, so you have to kind of go around here.
Attempted movement collides. I'm struggling to move anywhere.
Where are you trying to move?
I was considering trying to move here and ask if that would put me out of the fire or not.
Oh yeah, I can't move you either for some reason. I'm refreshing. Okay, I can move you. Oh, I put you on a plant, so you were completely blocked in. Yeah. You should be able to move now.
Would this take me out of the fire?
I don't believe so. I think you'd have to be one more away.
All right. On my way there, I guess, just so I'm not in melee with anything, I'm going to cast Scorching Ray and make the assumption he doesn't have any sort of immunity to fire, but he probably does or something.
Okay.
But
go ahead and roll.
to roll these.
Yeah, that's right. It's annoying.
Yeah. And then I do an extra D8 on one of them.
I'm assuming that's the first one. Generally, would be the first. Yeah. So, as all 3 rays are heading towards him, you do. It's sort of like you almost see it in slow motion, a little bit, as these like tattoos start to snake up his neck, as this like red ink climbs up, and you see a portion of your fire start to be absorbed by him. As he has a absorbing fire tattoo.
Of course he does.
And he's resistant to fire, and from that first hit is going to absorb some health back from it. And you start to see like, I think like there's something eerily strange about this guy and how his capabilities sort of line up with yours, but this is something that's a little advanced.
Okay.
So I think in total, he would use his reaction against the first one, which would give him 7 hit points back, but then he would take
Wow.
9. Yeah. So he only ends up taking 2 damage from it, but you sort of see this happen as these rays are colliding with him.
Learned a thing. And I guess I'll bonus action try to telekinetic shove. I don't know if I can do this or not, but I'll try and do this lady with an axe up here and see if I can knock her off of the ledge.
Sure.
But she has to make a strength save DC 17 or be moved 5 feet.
Exactly 17.
Enough. That's my turn.
Okay. This one who's in the fire moves out of it and sort of sees the calamity of people rushing in on the boss. Well, actually, he can't go that way because he can't throw the flasks that far. I think he probably just sort of like, I guess he would just throw it at Mouse. This one's going to throw a acid flask at Mouse, which definitely misses. As Mouse, you sort of see like a green vial fly over your head and start melting the wood on a nearby wall. Aesop.
Okay. First I'm gonna get out of the flame. Let's see, my character. I'm actually gonna move it by the door, I guess, trying to block it. I guess I'm gonna use my body to try to block the door in case someone tries to get in. Can I quickly check to see if it's locked or not?
Yeah, it's not locked.
It's not? Okay. I'm gonna look at Grajin. I'm gonna try to get in his head a little bit. I'm gonna cast Dissonant Whispers at level 2, so hopefully a little bit more damage. Can I say what I want?
Sure.
Or is it like a very specific thing? I'm gonna say Selnavan is very disappointed with your work.
I like it.
All right. Let me. Okay, he is making this save. You rolled quite high, yeah.
Oh, +7. So that, yeah.
But he sort of turns his head down towards you and says, "Interesting. She'll be happy to hear about this encounter after I dispose of you all." Is that your turn?
Yeah, I'm using my body to block the door. I'm out of the fire, so that's it.
Okay. This one who previously just got out of the way of the fireball looks up to Grajin for direction, and Grajin says, "Meet at the lumber mill. We need reinforcements." And this guy just starts to book it. He goes out this door and leaves. And on Grajin's turn, he says, "This was fun. Not really. I'll see you soon." And you see he takes a potion out. This is not a potion. I think Flint, give me an Arcana check. I don't know that there's anything you can do about it, but I'm... with an Arcana 20, you see this potion seems to contain a spell within it, and it has a door labeled on it. As he drinks it, as if he's casting a spell, and says, "See you soon." And he dimension doors out of here.
And I don't get a reaction for Dimension Door, correct?
No, there's no... He's just casting a spell.
And I don't really have any reaction spells.
And we'll end the game there because it's 10 o'clock. As you know that you have been spotted, obviously. Obviously, because you fought the boss.
Only I didn't roll like crap.
I mean, I healed him. So.
And we'll play again next year.
Indeed.
Awesome, guys.